The Grand Elders of the 7 major sects show their faces. The peak card of Ji Tiandao is activated. Please watch My Disciples Are All Great Villains, episode 427. If you're watching, please give Worm Anime a like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell to receive the newest videos as soon as possible. The square-faced man looked at the devastated scene, continuously ranting. The cultivators continuously retreated. The 9 elders of Yun's sect were also in extreme distress, mixing with the disciples and feeling incredibly uncomfortable. The remaining sect leaders, Ning Liang of Hengku Academy, Feng Qinghe of Jinsong Academy, Jia Yuan of 7-Star Villa, Miaoyin of Rui Convent, and the great disciple of Duanlin Academy, Xiao Jinhan, all hovered in the air, clutching their chests, their faces full of shock as they looked at Zhou. Xiao Jinhan's eyes widened, and he fearfully blurted out 2 words, "Too powerful." The remaining 4 fiercely clenched their fists and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Without the protection of the flying chariot, they became extremely flustered. Feng Qinghe's pupils contracted. Gritting his teeth, he said, "Don't panic. That last move must be a wide-area attack hand seal he created himself. Celestial Master Dao and Jinsong Academy can also achieve it when they unleash talismans at this moment." Feng Qinghe completely disregarded his dignity, putting on a brave face to encourage everyone in reality. He himself felt that this move didn't have great killing power. The 5 major sect leaders were not killed, nor did it trigger their dharma bodies. They were only struck by this bizarre force, which caused their blood and chi to surge, almost making them vomit blood. The 5 of them used primordial energy to stabilize their breathing. The great disciple Xiao Jinhan glanced over and asked, "Elder Feng, can we really win?" Feng Qinghe shot a look at him. "Trust me. There's no need to retreat. We have no other choice. Didn't we at Jinsong Academy beat the powerful Fan Li Tian until he was almost at death's door?" Zhou, however, silently watched this bunch of dogs, seeing what trick they wanted to play, with his hands clasped behind his back, in no hurry. Hearing Feng Qinghe, the other 3 exchanged glances and subtly nodded. This nod meant that to become a hero, one must step over piles of white bones. Miaoyin, the abbess of Rui Convent, said, "All right, if we don't go to hell, who will? Disciples, heed my command." Immediately, the surviving nuns charged forward like a swarm of tadpoles. Feng Qinghe joyfully gave her a thumbs up and raised his voice, "Everyone, listen. Old Demon Ji cannot hold out much longer. He is merely experiencing a final burst of energy. Don't be afraid of him. He only needed to stabilize the morale of the disciples of the 7 major sects. Whether it was true or false didn't matter." Although he had no idea if Ji Tiandao was having a final burst of energy or what the hell was going on, he continued to blabber and beckon, pointing at Zhou and saying, "Everyone, look. Old Demon Ji is hovering in mid-air, deep in thought. He must be about to die." But this guy didn't know that Zhou was hovering in the air, contemplating a solution to achieve 2 goals with 1 action, and also to be as economical as possible. The family was poor, and he couldn't afford to be wasteful. He still had 2 one-hit kill cards. Fortunately, he still had 1 peak state card. The experts hiding in the shadows still hadn't dared to show their heads. Zhou hadn't used the peak state card because once they saw Ji Tiandao in his peak state, they would surely run away. Where would Zhou find them? After all, time was limited. Miaoyin immediately shouted the order to chant scriptures. The Rui Convent disciples returned to their positions. Dozens of nuns clasped their hands in front of their chests, continuously reciting scriptures, 1-2, 1-2. Zhou shook his head and said, "It's futile." He thought to himself that all tricks were but jokes in the face of absolute power. Zhou's right hand slightly lifted, and a prop card appeared in his palm, Ji Tiandao's peak state card. Suddenly, a figure shot out from the southeast corner of the forest like lightning. His face was as red as a tomato, extremely fierce. He clasped his hands and extended them forward, his entire body shooting straight towards Zhou like an arrow. He sternly shouted, "Old Demon Ji! Don't you dare harm my disciples and grand disciples." Seeing this guy appear, the disciples of Duanlin Academy cheered and cried out in surprise, "Founding ancestor is out." Feng Qinghe was overjoyed. "Excellent, founding ancestor of Duanlin Academy. You finally decided to make a move." Chang Yan's face was flushed to his temples, his eyes filled with bloodshot threads. For a person near the end of their lifespan to look like this, it was obvious that he had used a demonic primordial elixir. Under the effect of the elixir, Chang Yan had also reached his peak state, just like when he was young. Everyone thought that under Chang Yan's attack, old Demon Ji would be seriously injured, even if he didn't die. The eyes of the 7 major sects' disciples glowed. A drill of steel-like primordial energy appeared in front of Chang Yan's palms, stabbing straight at Lu Zhou's face. His entire body tensed up as he swung his fist. Lu Zhou turned his head to look at Chang Yan, who was flying towards him, looking at that fist. As the fist arrived right above his head, Lu Zhou slightly shook his head. Very well. Then, his aged hand crushed the peak state card. Ji Tendao's peak period returned. He sternly roared, "Do you all want to die? Then this venerable one shall grant your wish." In the instant the peak state card shattered, the Dantian Qi Si at the Divine Court realm suddenly became complete. The 8 extraordinary meridians were filled with energy. Lu Zhou had thought that the hidden experts wouldn't dare to act rashly, and the peak state card could only deal with the people in front of him. He hadn't expected the founding ancestor Chang Yan of Duanlin Academy to appear. This was an unexpected delight. Strictly speaking, he seemed to have surpassed his own peak period. Lu Zhou calmly raised his hand. Golden light radiated from his entire body. He used one hand to block Chang Yan's full-force attack. More accurately, just the golden primordial energy severed Chang Yan's illusory arm, leaving him stunned. His pupils contracted in disbelief. Suddenly, his entire body froze. Time seemed to have stopped. The crowd watched with wide eyes, not even daring to blink, afraid of missing the earth-shattering battle. What terrified everyone was that old Demon Ji actually blocked the move with his bare hands. Old Demon Ji seemed to have always stood at the unreachable peak, seemingly never having weakened until now. Founding ancestor Chang Yan used the demonic primordial elixir, and yet he was still blocked barehanded? Everyone's eyes widened, jaws dropped, and their hearts trembled. Chang Yan looked at Lu Zhou's muscular figure in front of him with wide eyes, trying to resist. Old Demon Ji, die together. Having said that, he fiercely flexed all his butt muscles, and his entire body erupted, releasing a massive light. His strongest power was unleashed, and a colossal Tenjing Dharma body appeared on the battlefield. The people of the 7 major sects were overjoyed. The 8-leaf Dharma body. There's hope. But heaven truly knew how to mock people. Just as the 8-leaf Dharma body appeared, bringing hope, it suddenly prepared to dissipate. Lu Zhou casually chuckled, "You're dreaming." Lu Zhou's hand clenched, and the grasping hand seal, which looked exactly like a Buddha hand seal, appeared, then abruptly enlarged and struck. Boom! It turned into dust. This instantly choked the disciples and followers of the 7 major righteous sects, leaving them speechless. Chang Yan's pupils also contracted, staring fearfully ahead. Just one move, and he was dead. One punch pierced straight through him. A part of his body was shattered, and the Dharma body correspondingly vanished. The remaining body parts flew backward due to inertia, and fresh blood danced wildly in the air. Lu Zhou didn't stop, continuing to throw another punch, which transformed into a pillar of light. It shot straight upwards, the golden light illuminating the sky. Lu Zhou did this because he wanted to save time. He only had 30 minutes, but his primordial energy was inexhaustible. Therefore, he could freely unleash his most powerful moves, shattering what remained of Chang Yan and making him vanish from heaven and earth. The people of the 7 major sects were stunned into silence. Every drop of Chang Yan's blood fell like rain, splattering onto them. They all stood with wide eyes and agape mouths. What demonic primordial elixir? What founding ancestor of Duanlin Academy? What peak 8-leaf state? Lu Zhou's entire body was glowing golden, his hair fluttering, looking like a descending demon god. He casually shook his head. What the hell? Too weak. One punch is all it takes to kill. End of episode 427. Thank you sincerely for watching Worm Anime's video. See you in the next new videos.